Thank you, Lascan Corla. Minister, I'm looking for an update in the progress in upgrading the N17 from Knock to Clooney. This is a major issue of concern from both, I suppose, a strategic economic perspective and also a safety perspective. And progress has been very slow, Minister. It's the main artery from Galway to the northwest. So I want to hear what progress is being made.
Thank you very much, Deputy. I can confirm, as I did with Deputy McGrath, that approximately 411 million of Exchequer capital funds have been provided for national roads through TII to local authorities in 2024. These allocations were announced by the Department of Transport and TII on the 22nd of February last. The N17 Knock to Clooney scheme has been identified in the National Development Plan. This section of the N17 covers approximately 55 kilometres in length and has a number of towns and villages on the route, most notably Tubbercurry and Charlestown. The project aims to remove traffic from these urban centres as well as to improve safety on the route. TII has been working to progress this scheme through planning, design and construction, and I confirm that 900,000 has been allocated for the N17 Knock to Clooney scheme in 2024. An emerging preferred transport corridor was announced at the start of 2023, with a period of public consultation taking place following this. Route selection has now been finalised as of March the 7th this year, and the design and the environmental evaluation phase is now underway. The project team are preparing for studies and surveys which will be carried out to progress this phase. A particular focus is on the delivery of the Tubbercurry bypass and Charlestown bypass elements of the scheme. Removing traffic from the centre of these towns will help greatly improve the quality of life of local residents in line with Town Centre First policy. It's also keeping with the principle of compact growth, which is the programme for government and is a national strategic outcome of the national planning framework. As with all national road projects in the NDP, the delivery programme for the project will be kept under review on an ongoing basis, and I hope this update is of assistance to the Deputy.
Thank you, Minister. And from what you've said, you're really talking about the bypasses of Tubbercurry and Charlestown and nothing else. And while that's fine, Minister, there's a number of really dangerous stretches on this road, especially between Curry and Tubbercurry. I don't know if you're familiar with the road, but also there's some very dangerous sections between Tubbercurry and Clooney. And work needs to be started on those sections. I mean, one of the main reasons to upgrade the N17, apart from the fact that it is an economic corridor, are safety concerns. And Minister, I want to see money being spent on those sections. Now, the last time I was lucky enough to have an oral question on transport was just over a year ago. It was Minister Jack Chambers at the time who answered me. And when I asked him about progress on the N17, one of his comments was, he said, as with all national road projects in the NDP, the delivery programme for the project will be set out later in 2024. We're in the second half of 2024. And what I'm asking really is, can you confirm a time frame for start and completion dates of the upgrade of the N17? What's the overall cost that's estimated? And can you give me any estimate of how much of that money has already been spent?
I won't have those figures until we get the business case, similar to what I just said with regard to the Care to Limerick Junction Road. It's at the business case phase when you get, well, you start to get kind of indicative outline as to what the potential costs might be. I agree with you. Can I say, first of all, I agree with you that road safety is our key first objective, and what I've said to TII, and we funded TII with specific funding to look at, can we improve on existing national road or network, even if we're not doing the full motorway kind of new project appraisal or new project development, can we look to see how we can improve safety measures on all the carriageway, particularly national roads, through a variety of different measures, including investment in junctions, in speed measurement measures, and also other road improvements. So I agree with you, safety has to come first. The second priority, though, is to try and improve our towns. The likes of Tubbercurry and Charlestown, I believe it's right, just as the exact same way I said in Tipperary, to focus on Tipperary town first. Well, similarly, on the N17 to take the through traffic out of towns is one of the most important immediate benefits. We'll be doing that in a lot of other areas. The example of Virginia, County Cavan, where rather than the full entire road network being done, you start with the town section, because I think it's important that the limited funding that we do have is prioritised to safety and to towns.
Thank you, Minister. I hear what you're saying about safety. I'll come back to that in a minute, and about towns. It's also important to remember, Minister, that the N17 is a strategic economic corridor as well for the North West, and that cannot be left out of any calculations. But regarding safety schemes on the N17 and national roads, I mean, one of the issues that has been raised with me again is the type of scheme that's smaller than minor improvements, because minor improvements normally are 1 million, 2 million, whatever. But a smaller scheme that would cost a couple of 100,000, maybe to improve sightlines at a junction, for example. The only monies that seem to be available for that kind of project, you know, are in the region of 50, 60,000. It's not enough money. So, Minister, there's sort of a middle ground there that is really important and would make a difference on the N17 when you're finalising your plans. So I'd like you to look at that again, and if you could come back to me on it, I'd really appreciate it. And on a related issue, it's the bus service on that route from Tubbercurry to Sligo. It's only expressway. It's a 24-kilometre distance. There's only one designated stop, Minister, and really, we need to see a bus on that route. The service is totally inadequate. And Minister, I'd ask you to look at that also.
I will look at that, and I do think I hear absolutely what you're saying about the need for strategic corridors to the northwest, and I think that's a variety of different projects. It's not just roads; it is also investment in rail and in bus services, and that's why we have a difficult budget allocation process, because the rolling out of further Connecting Ireland rural bus services require a lot of funding as well. But just to go back to your first point, I agree with you. There are a lot of instances where a medium-term or small, medium-scale investment on roads, for road safety improvements particularly, and that's why in last year's budget we did allocate a specific additional funding. I'm going on memory here now, but I think it was roughly about 20 million or so. I don't have the exact figure in front of me, but was designed to go exactly in that purpose, to look at sections of our particular national routes where speeds tend to be high, where you have maybe two traffic lanes approaching each other without segregation, that in those, and where you might have traffic coming onto a national road, which presents particular safety issues. And we are very specifically said to TII, we want to focus on those as well as the big projects and the very small ones. So I agree with you fully. Those sort of medium intervention or medium scale interventions to improve safety has to be a real focus.